5 years ago, you were being smart with your money by doing some of these exact things. Today, every single one of them is quietly draining your bank account. And most people haven't noticed yet because the change happened so slowly. So I want to walk you through 10 purchases that used to make sense and don't anymore, why the math flipped, and what I'd actually tell you to buy instead if you sat down with me right now. Some of these are going to sting. Stick around for number 7, because that one isn't really about money at all. It's about why you're buying it in the first place. Let's start with the one everyone secretly already knows. Food delivery apps. When these first launched, they subsidized your delivery to hook you, which meant it actually was a good deal. That subsidy is long gone. Now you're stacking a delivery fee, a service fee, a bag fee, tax, a tip, and a menu markup on top of the actual price of the food, and that markup alone can run up to 30% higher than walking in and ordering yourself. A $15 burrito can quietly become a $29 burrito by the time you hit checkout, and that's before you've eaten a single bite. If you came to me with a food delivery habit, I wouldn't tell you to feel guilty about convenience. I'd tell you to just pick up your own order, because you're not paying for food anymore. You're paying a tax on your own laziness. Here's a bigger one, and this is where the math gets genuinely brutal. New cars. The average new car payment right now sits close to $750 a month, on loans stretched out to 6, 7, sometimes 8 years, financing a depreciating asset for longer than most people even keep the car. Run the actual numbers on a $50,000 car over 6 years, and you're paying more than $11,000 in interest alone for a car that'll be worth maybe half of what you paid by the time it's yours. Now flip that same $750 into an index fund instead, every month, for 30 years, and you're looking at over $1 million. Same money, wildly different outcome. If a client brought me a car loan like that, I'd steer them toward a 3 to 5-year-old used car instead, paid mostly in cash, because the previous owner already ate the worst of the depreciation for you. Now here's one that feels small but adds up fast. Upgrading your phone every single year. The jump between consecutive iPhone models has gotten so incremental that most people genuinely can't tell them apart in daily use anymore. Phones now cost over $1,000, and if you're refreshing yours annually just because a new one exists, you're paying full price for marketing, not for meaningful improvement. Wait 3 or 4 years between upgrades instead, and you'll actually feel the difference when you do switch instead of paying a premium every year for changes you'll never notice. Let's talk about something that sounds boring but is quietly costing people 6 figures over a lifetime. Actively managed mutual funds. You're paying someone up to 1.5% of your money every single year to try to beat the market, and the data is almost embarrassing here. The overwhelming majority of these funds fail to beat a basic low-cost index fund over any meaningful stretch of time. Run that fee difference over 30 years on $500,000 invested, and you're talking well over $1 million lost to fees alone. Not performance, just fees. If you've never checked what your 401k is actually invested in, pause this video after we're done and go look, because that one check could be worth more than anything else on this list. Extended warranties are next, and this one is simple. If you're paying with a decent credit card, there's a strong chance you already have an extra year of coverage built in for free as a card benefit, which means you'd be paying Best Buy for something you already own. These warranties are some of the highest margin products in all of retail for a reason, and that reason is that most people forget they exist by the time they'd actually need to use them. Now, wellness products. This is the one where I want you to actually pause and think. Because the wellness industry has become enormous by convincing you that feeling good requires spending money. $25 smoothies, $300 yoga sets, the list is endless. But walking, sleeping enough, drinking water, eating real food, and moving your body are still free, and they still work better than almost anything with a price tag attached to it. If you're spending to feel healthy instead of doing the boring stuff that actually makes you healthy, that's the trap, not the products themselves. Here's number 7, and I told you this one wasn't really about money. Spending on status. Designer goods, expensive tables at clubs, cars you can't actually afford, All of it exists to signal to strangers that you have money, and none of it moves your net worth forward even a little. The gap between people who are financially fine and people who are quietly drowning is often just a few $100s a month, and status spending is exactly where that gap gets created. So here's the test I'd give you if you were my client. Would you still want it if literally nobody else could see you have it? If the answer's yes, it might genuinely fit your life. If the answer's no, you already know what's happening. Starter homes are next, and I know this one is going to upset some of you. In a lot of major metros right now, owning costs meaningfully more per month than renting the same place, once you factor in the mortgage rate, taxes, insurance, and maintenance. $1 million starter home can run thousands more a month than renting the equivalent unit down the street. That doesn't mean never buy a home. It means the emotional pull of ownership is currently outrunning the actual math in a lot of markets. And you deserve to know that before you sign anything. Fast food used to be the budget option, and it just isn't anymore. A meal at most major chains is creeping toward $14, which is close enough to a real sit-down restaurant that the only thing you're actually choosing anymore is lower quality for a similar price. The one exception still standing is the food court hot dog combo that's barely moved in price in decades. And if you know, you know. And the last one, concerts, which have quietly become one of the most expensive nights out you can have. A show that would have run you $50 to $100 a decade ago now regularly clears $200 to $400 once you add the fees on top of the fees, transportation, and everything you'll buy once you're actually inside. The fix here isn't giving up live music. It's noticing that a $20 ticket to see someone up and coming in a small room is often a better night than a stadium seat you paid $400 for just to watch a screen half the show anyway. So here's the actual lesson underneath all 10 of these, and it's the same thing I'd tell you if you were sitting across from me instead of watching this. None of these things are evil. The problem is that the price quietly moved and your habits didn't move with it. The fix isn't cutting everything out of your life. It's rechecking, every year or so, whether the things you've always paid for still deserve your money at today's price. Because the version of you that started these habits was making a completely rational decision at the time, and the world just changed the deal on you without asking. If this made you rethink even one thing on your monthly spending, subscribe. Because next week, I'm breaking down the exact paycheck routine.
Master your money, and you master your future. Start investing in your dreams today.